What's up, guys? It is Coach Kally V, and this is the Kally V podcast, Owning Your Opportunity. And in today's episode, I am going to speak to the parents of a pitcher. So recently I have been getting some really good conversations in the DMs on my Instagram. If you're not following me there, I encourage you to do so because some of these topics that you and I talk about will show up on the show. And it's just for the goodness of your opportunity and your daughter's opportunity to grow. Okay. So go to Kally V Softball, find me on Instagram. You can find me on all social media platforms at that handle. That's Kally like Sally, V as in Victor Softball. Okay. And you can also find my website that way, KallyVsoftball.com. That's Kally like Sally, but with a K, V as in Victor Softball.com. Okay. Now that I've got that out of the way, please make sure you're subscribed to the show so you don't miss out on this type of talk. Okay, let me give you a little backstory on myself real quick in 20 seconds. I'm kidding. No. Okay, so I literally have been playing ball since I was 4 years old. Okay, I played up until in between my sophomore and junior year of college. It was then that I had a headache really bad for 3 months. And one night I started throwing up. I could not stop throwing up. I had to go to the emergency room. They gave me meds to quit throwing up. I ended up waking up the next day after sleeping for like 16 hours, and I had no peripheral vision. So I had no vision on the side of my right eye. And my mom, being in diagnostic medicine, knew that something was putting pressure on the left side of my brain. Lo and behold, within 48 hours, they were able to first diagnose me with a blood clot in my brain in the left sagittal sinus. And it was putting pressure on my brainstem, which was causing my spinal fluid pressure to be 29, and it's not supposed to be over 24. So the way they graded it is the clot was 98% occluded. So 100% occlusion would have caused an aneurysm. I would have died. They said it would have been fatal. I would have died in my sleep. I would have dropped dead. And like from a sneeze, cough, anything that puts pressure, right? And so due to the blood clot, they were able to identify I had 2 rare genetic, markers. I got one from each parent that signified that I had a very rare genetic blood clotting disorder. And since then, I have been on warfarin. Goodness, 26 years? I'm like shocked right now. 26 years. There's a lot to Kally V Softball. You know, the fact that I've been playing since I was 4, I played all the way up through college, the fact that I almost died, the fact that my senior year of high school, that's when I started coaching. Little did I know the way things were going to play out, right? As far as I knew, from the moment I saw Lisa Fernandez and Dot Richardson and Michelle Smith play for Team USA against Oklahoma Baptist before they took off to win the gold, in that moment, I knew softball was something I wanted to do the rest of my life. I thought it was just a play. I had no idea that it was going to be in this way, right? So it's crazy. I started coaching not knowing that my playing career was going to end earlier than what I had planned. Okay. Now, coaching, I've been coaching for almost 30 years. That is crazy in itself. Okay. So at the beginning of this podcast episode, I said this is for the parents of the pitchers. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I don't know if it's ever going to change. Like, if parents of pitchers are never going to buy into what other pitchers are doing, you know, if parents of pitchers can do more, like keeping your blinders on, I just don't know. Like, I feel like every year there's just a new release of FOMO, you know, the fear of missing out. For pitchers that are just starting, there's that destructive comparison of, well, my daughter should be throwing like so-and-so. They just started pitching the same time. But truth is, your daughter doesn't learn like so-and-so, and so-and-so doesn't learn like your daughter, right? So the reason why I felt compelled and convicted to do a podcast episode for you guys is those of you that I've been talking to, like, you're genuine. Your heart is so genuine. I see you. I see you guys reaching out just for support in the aspect of do I just let my daughter quit pitching? How do I know when my daughter's done? How do I push her? Stuff like that. And I'm going to be so transparent with you to show you a little insight on my journey as a parent of a former pitcher. Now, some of you may have heard this. So, my daughter, she plays softball. She loves the game. She's a gamer, right? She's been pitching since she was little. And for the longest time, I didn't really want to push it on her. You know what I mean? Like, I would be in the backyard doing lessons, or I would be doing lessons online. And she had asked me one day, Mom, when are you going to coach me like you do your clients? And I was like, I don't think you want that. Like, I think you just see me spending time with them and you just want my time. And she's like, nope, I want to be a pitcher. So, needless to say, I started working with her, and COVID was a blessing for my family and I. We, as coaches, we were able to support a lot of kids during that time with we had basically a backdoor, or not backdoor, backyard, you know, we had a pin, we had a cage. Like, we had 3 different mounds that the girls could throw from. We had a hitting cage. We had weights in the garage. We had cardio machines upstairs. So kids were coming over, I think it was in twos, and they were working out and hitting and throwing bullpens and stuff like that. So it was a lot of fun. And that's where my daughter learned a lot of her pitching that year. And she was so good at Tenue. Like, when we moved down to the valley, she was definitely a stronghold on her newer team. She had a degree of mental awareness and mental strength that a lot of 10-year-olds didn't have. She was able to compete in really high pressure situations. 12U, she was still a gamer. She loved it. And it wasn't until her first year, 14U, she was met with a challenge of a really hot day, right? It was like 117 degrees, and she didn't do her best. I mean, pitchers everywhere at that tournament were not doing very well, but unfortunately, her coach at the time never gave her another opportunity to take the mound. And I knew then that because she wasn't given the opportunity ever again on that team to take the mound, there was a part of her desire to pitch had died. So I'll never forget the moment where my husband and I and her, we were at our neighbors and we were in the pool, and she had just said, I want to quit pitching. And both my husband and I are like, we're coaches. He's a teacher and a head 6A baseball coach here at Chandler High in Arizona. And um, we were like, absolutely not, because she was wanting to quit because based off of what somebody else had done, right? And we were like, you're not quitting like that. Like, you're going to quit when you have no reason to quit, right? Like, if you're going to walk away from something, you're not going to walk away from something when it's bad. You're going to walk away from it when it's good, you know? And so she ended up pitching just a little bit in high school. They needed her everywhere on the field. They needed her in the lineup. She ended up getting honorable mention her freshman year in the 6A Premier Region, which was huge for her. And I'll never forget being at the stoplight after her travel ball practice. I just knew it. It was like the elephant was in the room. Uh, I just turned and I looked at her and I said, you can be done. And she was like, done with what? And I was like, pitching. And she was like, really? And I was like, yeah, like, you don't have to pitch just because your mom pitched and just because I'm a pitching instructor. Like, you don't have to pitch. And you could just see this sense of relief. And so from there, I was like, oh my gosh, I told her, I was like, did I ever make you feel that way? And she was like, absolutely not, Mom. She's like, I think it stemmed from everybody else's opinions. Like, they think I should be this great pitcher, or they think I should be a pitcher because you were a pitcher and you're a pitching coach. And like, mind you, she'll go with me to clinics and help out with the littles. She absolutely loves working with the littles. And she loves it, but she just got to a point in her career where she really wanted to work on the things that she wanted to be recruited for. That was the defining difference from being 12 and being like, I want to quit because coach is mad at me, to, on the verge of being 15 and being like, I really want to go to college. I want to be known for being a hitter and playing second base. And I know what I know. Training pitchers, it takes a lot to train as a pitcher. There's a lot of work ethic that has to go into that, right? And she's not going to do it. And I'm not saying that to like light a fire underneath her to prove me wrong. I want her to go after what she wants to go after. So for those of you that are feeling this disconnect, with your daughters at one point loved to pitch, right? I want you to be very careful. I want you to proceed with caution when you talk to her about continuing to pitch, because a lot of you are getting this in the age gap, from 12U to 14U and some from 14U to 16U. Those two gaps, there's a lot of growth that happens in your daughter, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally. A lot of things are changing, right? And they might come to you and just be like, I don't want to pitch anymore. But if they say, I don't want to pitch anymore because coach doesn't let me pitch, that's a negative. You're not going to let your daughter quit because of that, because then you're teaching her to give the power, the authority to someone else to tell her when she can be done with something. When in truth, you need to be teaching her how to, when she's done, and she knows it because she knows it, not because somebody else says it, if that makes sense. So when you have those conversations, if she is upset at someone else, like if it's a outside type thing that's making her want to quit or question pitching, that's when you've got to hold your ground. And as crazy as it is, you have to look at it as an opportunity of one day softball is going to be over and she's going to have to deal with life. And if I don't use this as an example to teach her how to show up in life, right? I'm just going to teach her how to give up in life. As crazy as it sounds for some of you guys, this is where, yes, it's a game and it's not that serious, but when these things come into play, that's where it's serious, because those decisions that you make, that you let your kid make because somebody did something to them to make them want to quit, to walk away from something, those are red flags for like, oof, don't let your kid do it, right? So I want to encourage you, when you have the discussion and if they say that, ask them like why, and then have them have the conversation with the coach. Like, if it's a situation where the coach isn't pitching her, like, you need to have the conversation. She needs to have the conversation with the coach. Like, why aren't you pitching me anymore? And if the coach is like, well, I just don't trust you. Why don't you trust me? Well, because in that game, I've always been able to count on you and you just completely threw the game away. Okay. I threw the game away. This is a game of failure. It happens, right? So you're going to condemn me to my secondary position and you're never going to give me another chance. And if the coach is like, well, no, then that right there, you need to leave the team. Okay. That's a really good reason to leave the team, because that coach doesn't see your daughter for what she's trying to obtain, right? If she wants to be a pitcher and she's trying to get to college to pitch, but she's not being seen as a pitcher on our team, that's really hard to give her that exposure. So that would be here's your sign moment, time to start looking for a different team, versus just letting your daughter quit because the coach isn't playing her. Because there's a whole tub of problems that come with that. Not only are you teaching her how to give away her authority, right? But you're also teaching her how to subdue, like, what she wants, what she needs, how to basically be quote unquote manhandled by another coach. It happens. Manipulation is very real in softball. I've seen coaches manipulate families. I've seen coaches manipulate players. I've been manipulated myself to where it's been some time and I've had to heal from it. But to the point where I was like, why did I stay this long? Like, and here I thought I was like staying to protect other people, and we were the last ones to leave. Like, talk about here's your sign, right? And that took a lot of time to heal from. I mean, to the point where I was questioning, you know, is this something I even want to get back into? I just don't know if it's safe for my daughter. Like, oof, there were so many decisions. But we're back, right? We're back. My daughter's alive, thriving in softball. Like, we just found out high school season officially ended today. So travel ball will be in a couple weeks. They'll start up. But if you're a parent of a pitcher and your daughter is telling you she wants to quit, I need you to get to the bottom of it. Like, why is she wanting to quit? If she's wanting to quit because of what a coach said to her, that is not a reason to quit. That is a reason to ignite a fire underneath her, right? Now, if the coach is never going to see her as a pitcher again, that's your sign to step away from that team. I don't care if you don't see her as a pitcher. If that's something that she's wanting to do and she's willing to work her butt off to do, you cannot get in the way of that. And I know there's a lot of you out there that disagree with that, because some of you guys are like, 18U elite coaches and you get paid the big bucks to make these kind of calls. But I'm just going to be real with you. Like, it's not your place to dictate what you think. Like, at the end of the day, if that girl wants to do something, she's going to figure it out one way or another. So parents, as you're navigating this, just know that it's not easy. And if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. But if your daughter is in this space where maybe she's just having like some rough games and you've never experienced that and you don't know how to come around her on this, like, please shoot me a DM. You can always email me as well, KallyVsoftball.com. That's Kally like Sally, V as in Victor, softball.com. All social media platforms, Kally V Softball. That's Kally like Sally, V as in Victor. Shoot me a message. Pick my brain. I've been playing ball since I was 4. I've been coaching, almost 30 years. And how long was it until I had kids? Well, see, I started coaching when I was 18 and I had my son when I was 24. So I was coaching a little bit, before I had the babies. So definitely have been in a lot of pockets of coaching, sat at a lot of tables, been in some major rooms, and I'm here to help you. So I hope that helps you, parents of pitchers who are struggling right now. And then one more thing, I'm just going to throw this out there. If your daughter is currently struggling, like she's got a lack of confidence, but she really wants to pitch, there's more issues that are happening there, and it's typically happening in what she's not doing. So if you want to have a conversation about what it looks like to have structure and a plan in her program, I would love to talk to you about that. I'm going to drop the training application in the show notes. Or you can always just go to KallyVsoftball.com. The application is right there. Okay, that's Kally like Sally, V as in Victor.com. And we can see what it would look like for your daughter to train with me. But at the end of the day, just me sharing my wisdom, right? Been in this for a while. And as always, guys, I thank you for being a part of the big picture here at Kally V Softball. Make sure you subscribe to the show, because by doing that, that's you being a part of the big picture. And shoot me a follow on all my social media platforms, especially the Instagram. I love the gram. And I look forward to talking more with you guys about softball. All right, guys, take care and God bless.